Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, nice to see you.
I'm Adam Zand. I'm a co-founder and principal at Sharp Orange, a PR and communications agency.
What does a library do for a PR and communications agency that you couldn't get by going to a crowded, noisy coffee shop?
So the crowded, noisy coffee shop means you're going to drink a lot of caffeine. And there's going to be a lot of conversations and a lot of really bad new age music. So that wasn't for us. The other alternative that some people suggested to us was co-working spaces. Some have been branded WeWork, some have been branded Work Bar. We'll put this nicely, it's just not for us. We felt fairly expensive, not a lot of room to stretch out in. Just wasn't for us, both of those options. So I think this is a sense of place, and libraries really are this last great democratic institution where anybody can go. Anyone from a CEO to a PR person to somebody who just wants to read the newspaper that day. So thankfully, most of the libraries we go to do have private rooms. If they don't, we find a space and we're just a lot more quiet than we usually are.
What's the response been from clients?
I think Greg might have pointed out, we have a client, Zoom Info, and we, pretty early in our engagement, told them where our office was. Basically, our office could be anywhere in the state. So when our client contact didn't want to go into the office one day, we said, well, where do you live? We'll come to you. We wound up in a couple of places with him. We wound up in the Lincoln Library, a wonderful older library slightly north of the city, but very close to Zoom Info. And then we did a strategic planning meeting in Hamilton Wenham, just a wonderful library, probably one of our favorites in the state, actually.
What do you guys, if you look at the history of libraries, and I'll come back to Greg for this, if you look at the history of libraries, we have the first public library in the United States, right? Or in the world?
You know, I can't say that for sure.
Well, I mean, you weren't around then, but isn't Boston Public the first public library?
The oldest library in the state of Massachusetts is actually in Franklin. They got their first collection in the 1790s, directly from Ben Franklin. The town was originally going to be called Essex, but Ben Franklin had just negotiated a treaty with the French, and the town fathers decided,
name it after him.
why not name it after him? But then they went a step further, and they actually approached Franklin and said, hey, we named the town after you. Will you give us something? And originally they said they wanted a new church bell, but Franklin, he demurred and said, I think what would be better than a bell to call people to prayers is books to spread knowledge. And so he gave them their first collection. But for many years, it didn't have a permanent home. It circulated around the town from schools to churches. For a period of time, apparently, it was misplaced and was found in someone's barn after a period of time. But it is the oldest collection in the state, and Massachusetts has many of the oldest libraries in the country. It's pretty cool.
Nice. As a resource for information, what makes a library ideal for a company like Sharp Orange, or for anyone who lives in any of these towns where these great institutions are?
Right. Well, we're all fairly mobile people these days, and access to free Wi-Fi and laptop. If we were in one library in Medford, I was having the darndest time with my laptop, and Greg said, why don't you check up front? Maybe you can borrow a laptop. And we did. Got work done that way. Primary source materials would seem like an obvious. We don't use them all that much, but if we have to, they're boundless. It's funny with Libraryland, our friend Dave Kay, who I think you know, he's a grant writer and fundraiser. He brought us to Newton Library and showed us a database that the Newton Library has and other libraries have that gives you access to all the grant writing opportunities and foundations really in the country. And part of our Libraryland effort, this project we're embarking on to try to go to every library in Massachusetts, we think there might be some foundations or maybe some associations that would want to be involved in our efforts. And why not use a database like that in a library? There's probably a million other uses. We're pretty focused on work. We want to get work done for our clients, and move the needle, whatever that means for our clients. And libraries have been a good place for us to do that.
Let's cut to the chase. You guys score libraries. So Greg,
Greg's the score.
what's the score for Plaistow Public Library?
Plaistow is a 4.73.
On a scale of how many?
5. So it is, it's in the top 3, maybe the top 5 libraries that we've been to.
You've been to hundreds, right?
We've been to this is actually number 125.
Okay.
More than that, it's actually almost 130.